Welcome to Global Lens. Today, we're diving into a surprising and concerning trend. 10 major United States airports that once bustled with travelers now face ghostly terminals and shrinking international traffic. If you've wondered why fewer people seem to be visiting America, and what that means for tourism, economy, and perception, stay tuned. By the end of this video, you'll understand which airports are most impacted, the underlying causes behind the declines, and what those shifts tell us about how the United States is seen in a changing world. If you like in-depth travel and global data investigations, subscribe now so you don't miss future episodes. Chapter 1. Setting the Scene: America's Airports and the Global Travel Landscape. The United States has long been seen as a magnet for international travelers, built around iconic cities, world-class attractions, and massive airport hubs. Yet recent data points to a stalled recovery at the entry points for many visitors. According to the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, United States scheduled airline passenger enplanements in February 2025 were down 4.6% compared to the same month last year. April 2025 showed 80.4 million total passengers, down 4.0% from the all-time high in December 2024. On the surface, you might think only a generational effect or post-pandemic hangover, but deeper examination shows significant variances by region, airport, international versus domestic travelers, and perceptions of safety, convenience, and welcome. Meanwhile, global airport traffic is rebounding. So what is happening in the United States that is causing certain airports to underperform or appear empty when they should be teeming? To answer that, we'll head through 10 specific airports, chronologically by how they were featured in a recent analysis, and dissect what the numbers and narratives show. Chapter 2. The Las Vegas Gateway. Fading. The first stop is the airport serving Las Vegas, Nevada. For decades, the city and its airport symbolized entertainment, international visitors, wedding tourism, golfers from Asia and Australia. Yet recent commentary suggests the glow is dimming. Local tourism officials report fewer direct flights from Asia, and hotel lobbies that once echoed with non-United States voices now sit quieter. The reasons are multifold: rising price inflation, visa delays, perception of safety, growing appeal of alternatives in Asia and Europe. Some travelers cited, "It's easier to get around, safer, I don't feel scrutinized," when asked why they favor destinations other than the United States. Although national United States enplanements are not collapsing, at certain international gateways the drop-off is more pronounced. The story in Las Vegas becomes emblematic of how a high-profile hub can feel the ripple effects of changing global traveler priorities. Chapter 3. Chicago O'Hare's Quiet Rooms. Next is the airport at Chicago, Illinois. Often ranked among the world's busiest, it has long been a major global gateway. Yet recent anecdotes suggest that its international halls are quieter, and some airlines have cut or suspended routes. One tourism insider remarked her weekly inbound groups from Germany and South Korea no longer arrive as they once did. While the airport still records growth in capacity, that growth is driven by domestic seats rather than international ones. The contrast hints at a decoupling. Domestic demand remains resilient, but the international revival is lagging. Several factors contribute. Travelers from abroad may weigh cost, convenience of visas, flight availability from home markets, and destination-specific safety or image perceptions. When a leading city's airport begins to see fewer inbound tourists, it signals deeper challenges beyond just the airport terminal. Chapter 4. Orlando's Family Vacation Breach. The airport that serves Orlando, Florida, long associated with family vacations, theme parks, and international travelers, now faces a changing scenario. Those 4- and 5-star hotels, the crowds arriving with baggage in hand, the international charter flights with suitcases marked "First Time USA" are fewer on the ground. One survey of Canadian parents reported only 1 in 5 now chose the United States as their holiday destination for the next 3 years, down drastically from 4 in 5 pre-pandemic. While global airport traffic is broadly recovering, the United States childhood vacation playbook is being challenged. Price sensitivity has increased. Flight routes from Europe and Canada have shifted focus, and younger travelers from Asia are comparing alternative destinations where entry is easier, cost lower, and the welcome more comfortable. Orlando represents one of the more visible examples of tourist demand shifting away from decades-old assumptions. Chapter 5. Detroit's Industrial and Tourism Disconnect. Moving to Detroit, Michigan, a city historically known for industry rather than tourism, but whose airport, Detroit Metropolitan, once carried a significant volume of international business travelers and exhibition visitors. Recent reports claim that international flows are down roughly 59% compared to pre-pandemic levels at this gateway, though official aggregate U.S. data does not corroborate a uniform drop of that magnitude. Instead, what stands out is the relative underperformance compared to other regions and the cutbacks in direct international connections, leaving the region less accessible. What happens when a region's airport traffic falls? The ripple effects extend to hotels, ground transport, local jobs, tax base, and ultimately the city's global profile. Detroit shows how deeper structural issues, legacy industrial economy, brain drain, shift in airline route networks, can intersect with tourism and travel decline in ways that feed each other. Chapter 6. New Orleans Cultural Gateway in Retreat. The airport serving New Orleans, Louisiana, a city famed for music, culture, cuisine, and heritage tourism, is not immune. Anecdotes mention live music in airport terminals being canceled not for lack of performers, but lack of audience. Reported drops in international passengers suggest the city is losing some of its inbound appeal. Reasons cited include increased tourist taxes, stricter entry processes, hurricanes and weather-related risk, competition from other destinations, plus changing visitor profiles who now expect different experiences than historically offered. Here, the narrative highlights how tourism is not just about putting people in seats at arrival halls. It's about destination image, ease of access, cost, perceived value and alignment of global traveler expectations with what the place offers. When those misalign, airports feel the impact. Chapter 7. Denver's Hub. Under pressure. Denver, Colorado's airport has for years been a major domestic hub and a growing international gateway. But its story tells a different kind of challenge. Rising domestic airfares, increasing cost of flights even for United States citizens, and competition from cheaper, overseas alternatives. One Colorado parent gave up a domestic flight because the round-trip fare to Florida approached $900, overshadowing value. National data for United States Airlines shows only modest changes in total volume. But for this hub, the trend underscores that even within the United States, travel affordability and choice are shifting. If an airport's domestic traffic slows, the knock-on effect for connecting international flights, airline network planning, and local ancillary industries can be severe. Denver serves to show that empty doesn't always mean zero flights. It can mean fewer passengers per gate, fewer international transfers, and less vibrancy. Chapter 8. Honolulu's Japanese Visitor Collapse. Turning to Honolulu, Hawaii, the name alone conjures sun, surf, and Japanese tourists. Yet data indicates a sharp drop in visitors from Japan to Hawaii when compared to pre-pandemic numbers. While precise percentages vary, the decline is steep enough to have forced closures of duty-free shops and prompted concerns among hospitality industry workers. Part of the issue is that regional competition in Asia-Pacific and Southeast Asia has regained momentum, while the United States remains comparatively more expensive and harder to access for some long-haul tourists. In addition to cost and access, destination perception matters. Young travelers from Asia increasingly ask, "Do I feel welcome, safe, unhassled when I enter the country?" When the answer is no, the gate towers may still be open, but the crowds vanish. Honolulu brings to light that even iconic destination airports can feel empty if the traveler pipeline dries. Chapter 9. San Francisco's Innovation Hub, Losing Shine. San Francisco, California, once the tech capital of the world, a destination for business travelers and tourists alike, is witnessing an airport narrative shift. Its international terminal check-in counters have fewer lines. Some airlines have rerouted or reduced service, and international passenger numbers are not rebounding as fast as internal churn. While aggregate United States airport data shows the system is broadly stable, the micro-experience at this gateway tells a story of changing global travel flows, rising perceptions of urban issues, homelessness, safety, cost, and competitor cities becoming more attractive. The implication is clear. If your airport becomes the gateway to a city travelers hesitate to visit, the terminal will reflect that. San Francisco sits in that intersection. High potential, but also new headwinds. Chapter 10. Philadelphia's Infrastructure and Image Lag. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, historic, cultural, but in recent years less in global tourism spotlight, has an airport whose user experience has been cited as problematic. Reports of stranded passengers, long security lines, and broken baggage infrastructure have compounded a sense that international visitors may choose alternative hubs. When pattern perception overtakes facts, airports experience a self-reinforcing feedback loop of decline. While comprehensive publicly released data for each route is harder to access, the pattern of fewer direct international flights, less business travel connectivity, and fewer boutique destination experiences combine to suppress growth. This chapter underscores that airport emptiness is not always dependent on raw numbers alone, but also on perceptions of efficiency, welcome, reliability, and image. Chapter 11. Portland's stealth drop in international flow. Finally, we come to Portland, Oregon. In recent years, celebrated for cuisine, nature, and green credentials, the city and its airport have been part of a new wave of travelers seeking alternative West Coast destinations. Yet reports suggest its international passenger flows have dropped precipitously. Airlines have cut routes, travelers citing unrest or safety concerns have redirected their trips, and the airport's international waiting areas appear far less dense than before. While domestic traffic may still hold up, international exposure is waning. The significance here is twofold. It's not only the big hub airports that matter, but also those secondary gateways whose decline signals a broader shift in where global travelers choose to land. If alternative countries or regions appear easier, cheaper, friendlier, the United States airport system may lose volume beyond what you'd expect from normal fluctuations. Chapter 12. The underlying causes. 5 key drivers. So what is driving this phenomenon across multiple airports? While each city and airport has unique local dynamics, several common threads emerge. First, visa and entry process friction. International travelers compare global destinations, and when entering the United States involves long queues, unpredictable screening, or costs, alternatives become more appealing. Industry reports show the number of foreign travelers arriving into United States airports in the first 7 months of 2025 fell 3.8% year-on-year. Second, cost increases. Flight prices, hotel inflation, and ancillary fees have surged. Domestic and international travelers alike are increasingly cost-sensitive and will choose where they get more value. Third, perception of safety and welcome. Media coverage of city attractions being offset by heightened concerns of homelessness, urban crime, protest activity, and general visitor sentiment influence decisions. What used to be seen as safe and open may now be perceived differently by certain market segments. Fourth, airline route network optimization. After the pandemic, airlines and their partners reevaluated where they deploy capacity. International non-stop flights require sufficient demand to sustain them. Airports missing that threshold may lose routes or face lower frequency. Data from the United States International Air Passenger and Freight Statistics Report show that non-stop international seat growth has not bounced equally for all airports. Fifth, global competition and alternate destinations. Travelers have more choices than ever. Countries in Europe, Asia, and the Americas have improved connectivity, hospitality, and perception. If 2 destinations offer similar experiences, the one easier and cheaper to access wins. When these factors combine, the result is visible. Less foot traffic in terminals, reduced flights, quieter duty-free zones, closed shops, and local economies impacted. Chapter 13. The implications. Why this matters. Why should this matter to a global audience? For one, airports are physical gateways to a country's image and economy. Fewer visitors mean fewer tourist dollars, less global business interaction, fewer cultural exchanges, and potentially a weaker soft power footprint. For local economies around the airports, fewer flights and travelers mean less revenue for hotels, restaurants, ground transport, local attractions, and retail. If an airport becomes quiet, it affects jobs, tax revenue, and regional development. For the United States as a brand, the question is not just why aren't people visiting, but what kind of visitor experience do we offer? And how easy are we making it for global travelers to get in, move around, and feel welcome? In an era of abundant travel alternatives, gatekeeping friction, cost inflation, and negative or ambivalent perceptions can push visitors elsewhere. For viewers, especially those creating content, building travel plans, or studying global mobility, the decline in some United States airport hubs represents both caution and opportunity. Caution that one cannot assume automatic popularity and opportunity, that shifts in patterns can open new content angles, route strategies, or emerging destination priorities. Chapter 14. Looking ahead. What could change? The good news is that the United States aviation system remains large and resilient. Official data show that overall scheduled passenger volumes remain high, though slightly off peaks. Major hubs like Atlanta and Dallas continue to add capacity. So recovery and growth are still on the cards. What could accelerate rebound or change the trajectory? Streamlining visa and entry processing, enhancing traveler experience, ensuring destination cities project safe and welcoming environments, airline reinvestment in direct international routes, and packaging value propositions, combined city plus region offerings that match what global travelers consider high value. From your perspective as watchers of travel and global mobility trends, keep an eye on airports that reverse decline with new routes, low-cost carriers entering, governments simplifying entry, or destinations repositioning themselves. The question remains, will the United States airports listed here simply lag behind the global recovery? Or are they signaling a structural shift in how the world travels and what travelers expect? The answer will shape not just airports, but tourism economies, content markets, and global mobility narratives in the next decade. Thank you for watching this deep dive on top 10 United States airports that are empty. Why no one's visiting America anymore. If you found this analysis useful, hit the like button, subscribe for more global travel insights, and click the bell so you're notified when the next episode drops. What do you think? Is this a temporary blip or a sign the United States must reinvent its visitor strategy? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective matters. Until next time on Global Lens.